I've been giving the crazy Cowboys stats lately.
Yes.
Just because of how dominant the defense has been. And I got another one. So one of my favorite stats, you've heard me talk about it, even for the Longhorns, is havoc rate. For those that don't know, havoc rate is basically splash plays by the defense. Any splash play, a sack, a tackle for loss, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, interception, a PBU. These are considered splash plays by the defense, and they call them havoc plays. That's it. And Texas led the Big 12 in havoc rate, actually, just sidebar, last season, hoping that's the case this year. But the Cowboys, havoc rate. And havoc rate is which takes, all the different things I just named and divides them by total plays. That's the havoc rate. Cowboys havoc rate is over 80% right now.
Oh.
That over 80%. All right. The number 2 team in havoc rate is the New Orleans Saints. They're at 59% havoc rate. That's usually considered really good, right? To be around 59, 60% havoc rate, that's considered good. Man, the Cowboys are at 80%, guys. That is freaky stuff. And honestly, this weekend, it's probably going to continue to be on that pace, considering the opponent they have. And, the Arizona Cardinals are not really a team that can put up much of a fight. So there you go. Havoc rate. The Cowboys are the most opportunistic and the most chaos-causing, havoc-wreaking defense in the NFL. And it ain't even close. So you'll watch the 49ers tonight. Watch the havoc plays that I just mentioned. Those splash plays on defense. Because that's something that's setting the Cowboys defense apart too. Is that they're making, not only are they kind of a suffocating defense, but it's the splash plays they throw out there are just, they got a lot of guys that can make those types of plays. All right, we got some sound from Dan Quinn. Shout out to my man Patrick, because I believe he's the one that found this sound, and it's good stuff. So
Patrick Davis, host
yes,
of the Sports Complex.
Davis. Yes, 5 to 7. You should check it out because he does great work. And is there Dan Quinn quotes? And it's Dan Quinn, 2 of them, one on disguising Micah Parsons and trying to using him in different ways. And we've seen them move Micah Parsons around a lot. He's in the B gap. Sometimes he's off-ball linebacker. Sometimes he's on the edge. They're moving him around a ton. And Dan Quinn is probably the leading mind on defense for positionless football in the NFL. He likes movable chess pieces, and even the guys he's brought with him, a lot of guys he can move around the chessboard. The first cut, Ty, is just a minute one. Let's get the cut of Dan Quinn. Here's him just talking about disguising the uses of Micah Parsons and what ultimately led to his creativity, right? The ability for him to create all of these different packages to use and weaponize Micah Parsons in.
Yeah, he and others have pushed me to, find out things that somebody can do. And so they don't have to come in for a specific package, but if they can be in the game and then we can move the pieces around, I thought that would be more valuable as opposed to, I remember a year ago, a friend that I'd coached against had said we knew if it was 3 D linemen in him or 4 D linemen in him, where he would be. And so I remembered that lesson and heading into the offseason to say, okay, that's a good challenge for us to find how we can be in a package that we want to be, but make it look different without having to change, an entire, defensive package. So that is, kind of the catalyst of why it got pushed to there. And JK does that, and Leighton does that, and some others. But having that ability to move around within. And like I said, some of the guys in basketball have influenced me on that too, to say, here's a guy who can handle the ball, but he doesn't traditionally play a 5. So how would you use a player like that? And so when you have somebody that has unique stuff, it's forced me to, push myself in that direction too.
There you go. Talking about the catalyst for his creativity, about how to weaponize Micah Parsons and the multiplicity in Micah's skill set. So I love that about Dan Quinn, and he's pretty open about, his blueprint on defense. And I think, honestly, that's what's led to them being able to force so many turnovers, too. They have so many movable chess pieces. The first thing a quarterback is trying to identify before the snap is who's playing what. Who's responsible for what? Yeah, exactly, right. You got this role, you got this, you're the edge defender, this guy's the Mike linebacker, this guy's the strong safety, this guy's the boundary coach. You're trying to figure out all those things before snap. And Dan Quinn is giving you misinformation constantly. He's moving all those pieces around so that you have more to process pre-snap. But then in addition to that, once the ball is snapped, He uses more twists and stunts than anybody else, so your offensive pass protections, they're confused post-snap and pre-snap. He rotates his safeties as much as anybody in the NFL, so the quarterback's pre-snap diagnosis, that doesn't match the post-snap. It's just there's a lot to process post-snap with his offense, and it forces teams into making mistakes. And making a lot of mistakes and turn the football over.
Rod's Rants a couple times a morning here on Ian Rod B. Can I play something for you?
Go ahead.
In relation to that, because I found this piece of sound. I was going to use it in our Who Said That segment coming up later in the show, but I'll go ahead and play it now. It's former Cowboys safety Darren Woodson, who I think is one. He's not in the Hall of Fame, but he should be.
He should be. Yeah.
That's a great player on those great Cowboys teams. But he was talking about Micah Parsons and asked, where this defense in his mind ranks among some of the best that the Cowboys have ever had.
I'm the old guy who's not going to say, well, these guys are soft and these guys couldn't play with us. Are you out of your mind?
I'm just asking.
Number 11
position.
Number 11 could have played in any era. He would have started in any era, and he would have been the best player on the field. I mean, this guy, it is amazing to watch Micah Parsons' first step and his awareness and his ability to attack the quarterback and attack the tackle or the guard or what. I mean, he is one of the most dominant players that I can remember watching.
Yeah, that's Darren Woodson, high praise, and I think he sees what we all see. He's just unblockable.
It is. I mean,
and now that the Cowboys have shored up, I think their secondary, this is part of why they've allowed 10 points in 2 games. And yes, I know the Jets and Giants are both offensive line challenged, and that's and they'll play better teams with better offensive lines and better quarterbacks this year. But you still have to be able to get guys open, and you still have to, it's coming. Even against good lines, Micah Parsons is going to get home.
Agreed. Yeah, and now he's helping other guys. Like, he's actually uplifting the play of others because he's getting so much attention. He's got so much gravity for the opposing team. They need to know where he is on every play. That other guys are getting freed up. Oza Odigizua, he's got 3 sacks. Nobody's even paying attention to his 3 sacks.
And he's from the middle.
And exactly. On the interior, well, a lot of it's because they're moving Micah around, twisting stunts, and he's getting matched up on, blockers that he can easily beat in one-on-one. So it's a domino effect, a butterfly effect that's a positive one all throughout the defense.
Well, you've said it a lot, Rod, on this show and your previous show. I've heard you. And so it's credit, but at the same time, it bears repeating. When the Cowboys drafted Micah Parsons with the 12th pick, coming off the COVID year, where he didn't even play. They weren't sure what they were getting, right? They're kind of, because they wanted a cornerback in that draft. And all the top corners had gone off the board, so they took the next best defensive player, which was Micah Parsons, on their board. They realized pretty quickly what they had drafted. And since they realized that, because you can see an all-time great player pretty quickly on the practice field.
Doesn't take long.
They have, and this is where, as much criticism as we give to Jerry Jones, he and the Cowboys front office said, we're going to start building this thing around that guy.
They did it fast.
And so they've drafted guys who can win individual pass rush on the D-line. The Odighizuwas, right? That was his strength coming out. And they've drafted and built this defense. And now you've empowered Mike McCarthy, who at least through 2 weeks has done an incredible job of calling plays that protect Dak Prescott from throwing picks and not being too crazy. And they still lead, even if you're trying to be more conservative offensively, Rod, they still lead the NFL in points scored.
There you go.
Because they're getting them from their defense.
Tex Coast, baby.
And it looks like a good formula. Again,
complementary football.
It's not going to matter until January, but they've built their – and Mike, a lot of times you'll build your team around a quarterback who's elite like Patrick Mahomes, and that's what the Chiefs have done. The Cowboys have built their team around Micah Parsons. They really have, because he's so special that if you can put other players that complement him around it, he's going to wreak havoc on every play. You keep him healthy, you're going to be hard to beat. And, I think that's credit to the Cowboys and, the good fortune of drafting Micah Parsons, because no one really was sure what he was going to be. Because, again, that was the COVID year. He didn't play that year at Penn State. He only played a little bit of college football. You knew he was a great athlete, but I don't think anybody knew he was this guy.